Vito Jr. took a dump at number two in the shower, and you know what? He had two options, he had two role models to learn from, and who? Out of Phil and Tony gave him the best shot at a new life. Welcome back to Folk Entertainment. Obviously, Vito Senior, whatever you want to call him, captain of the good ship Lollipop. I mean, there is about a million other names we could give Vito, but I think captain of the good ship Lollipop was a pretty good one from Phil. But like I said, number two, two options. 106 votes later. Who handled Little Vito the best? Sopranos season 6, episode 16, Fury. So, right, two options. Uncle Philly and Tony. Uncle Philly comes in last, 26% of the vote. So, you look at it, Tony kind of says to him, he's like, "You're his uncle." And Phil says something, yeah, twice removed. So Phil takes him out for a couple of Sundays. He's sitting drinking the Sundays. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? You look like a Puerto Rican whore. Great delivery from Phil Leotardo. But it's like, this entire situation, I mean, it could have been avoidable, like, if you just don't kill Vito. Obviously, this kid's clearly acting out due to this, but I mean, realistically, right? You're talking about two guys that are leading. You know, Phil's leading leading New York. Tony's leading New Jersey. They're speaking to this fat kid, right? Who is wearing this like gothic makeup, takes shites and showers. I mean, he is destined for failure. There is no two ways about it. And Phil doesn't really offer any, respiration. He kind of just says, "Yeah, you need to man up. And you need to be the man of the house now that the captain of the good ship Lollipop's gone." And Phil doesn't go back more than once. We see Tony, and Tony did win the poll, so apparently you guys think Tony decided to handle the little fetal situation better. But you look at Tony and it's like, this guy put 100k of his money aside in the gambling because he won a bet, and he's like, you know what, I could give her that 100k to give little Vito and his sister a better life. I think they were going to go to New Hampshire and Maine, something like that. But then, like, his crew's like, "Oh, Tony, that's why I will never forget this. We'll always remember you stood by Vito's family, even if Vito was captain of the good ship Lollipop." And then he sees another bet. I can't even remember who he bet. Was it the Dolphins? Their kicker come out. So what happens there? He loses it, and that 100k that could have really located these kids out the window. Tony makes the phone call. He pretends to care, and essentially what happens is little Vito is kidnapped in the middle of the night by a bunch of guys, and he's taken to some like care home, never to be seen again. Honestly, who knows what happened to little Vito? I can't even remember if he's in another scene. I'm going to doubt that he is because it's like there's really no need for it. Um, so in terms of who handled the situation better, I mean, Tony definitely did more, right? But he probably traumatized the kid for life, having him kidnapped from his own house at like 4 a.m. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's going to be the best result. I mean, we don't really know what happens to him. We probably never will. But James Toner says Vito Jr. needed discipline, but this is way too far. And seeing Vito Jr. being kidnapped by those guys in the middle of the night was traumatizing. One of them says to Marie, "He's going to be fine." I don't think so. They'll probably abuse and psychologically destroy him. Was it military school or boot camp for juveniles? Will we ever see his mom and sister again? Question mark. Yeah, well, he's not going to see Vito again, that's for sure. But it's like, it was just Tony taking the rough and cheap option, wasn't it? Because he could have literally, he could have literally put that 100k down to move them house. But again, move them. I mean, couldn't Marie just fucking sell the house that they're living in? Like, see this whole gimmick, right? That like, oh, Vito's family, they've got no money left, and they need 100k for Tony to relocate. Or maybe it was 100k on top of what she could possibly get. I don't know, because maybe I think 100,000 to relocate is no actually. I mean, unless you're getting some shitey flat or something, or she's going to pay rent. But I think the final nail in the coffin for this wee kid, man, was taking a shite in the shower. Who does that and then stood in it? Shiting in the shower, one thing. And then he stood in it, man. Anyway, I'm going to agree with Tony did the best, but he could have done a lot better. Phil gave up very easy. Tony, he persisted and then went with the cheap option in the end.